On the edge of a quiet town, where the river carried more secrets than waves, there was a path most people never had a reason to walk. It curled along the water like a forgotten sentence in an old book, shaded by tall bending trees whose branches whispered with the night breeze. Anyone who walked there would hear the soft hum of the world doing what it always did, moving, breathing, existing in the spaces nobody paid attention to. And if someone walked often enough, they might begin to feel like the world was whispering back. Jonah was one of those people. To everyone else, he was the boy whose name always slipped through the cracks. Teachers forgot to call on him. Students forgot to look at him. His own family, wrapped up in their own noise, filled rooms with conversations that Jonah was never quite part of. Jonah wasn't angry about it. He was just used to it. Quiet didn't feel like a choice, it felt like the only place he fit. Every evening, Jonah slipped away from the noise and followed the riverside path. He walked slowly, letting the wind brush against his face, letting the river settle the thoughts he didn't know how to name. The world felt softer here, gentler, as if it knew he needed the silence. But one evening, the quiet wasn't the same. It carried something different, something waiting. As the last light of the sunset dipped below the horizon, Jonah spotted a shape resting at the foot of the old wooden bridge. A faint glow flickered around it, almost too soft to notice if he hadn't been looking in that exact direction. He stepped closer, the wood under his shoes creaking lightly. There, sitting alone on the dusty ground, was a lantern. It wasn't pretty, not in the usual way. The metal was scratched, darkened by age. The glass was foggy, clouded like it hadn't been cleaned in decades. But inside it, a tiny spark pulsed. It flickered once, then again, almost like a heartbeat. Jonah crouched beside it, his breath caught somewhere between curiosity and caution. "Who left you here?" he whispered, as if answering. The lantern flickered brighter. Jonah reached out, his fingers brushing the cold metal. Except it wasn't cold, it was warm, warm like a hand held too long. Warm like someone had just been holding it. Jonah felt a strange tug in his chest, something he couldn't explain. The moment felt too still, too aware. He gently lifted the lantern. And the instant he did, the spark inside snapped awake. A burst of golden light filled the space between Jonah and the river. Not blinding but warm, rich, overflowing like liquid sunlight. Jonah stumbled back, clutching the lantern, his heart racing. Then he heard it, a voice, soft, ancient, deep as the river beside him. "You carry a heavy silence." Jonah froze. The voice wasn't echoing around him, it was coming from the lantern itself. His first instinct was to drop it. His second was to run. But something in the warmth of the light held him still. The voice didn't sound dangerous. If anything, it sounded knowing, as if it had been watching him for a long time. "Who said that?" Jonah whispered. The lantern glowed brighter. "I did," the voice replied, gentle but firm. "The light you hold is older than these trees and deeper than the silence you hide behind." Jonah's pulse hammered. "Hide behind?" He shook his head. "I'm not hiding. I'm just quiet." "Quiet is not the same as unseen," the lantern said. "But you, Jonah, you have taught the world to overlook you." Jonah felt something tighten in his chest. "I didn't choose that," he murmured. "Perhaps not," the lantern said, "but choices were made for you. And you accepted them." Jonah didn't know what to say. The words hit him harder than he expected. How could a lantern and object understand him better than people did? The lantern softened its glow, as if sensing Jonah's overwhelm. "You walk this path every evening," it said. "Seeking something." Jonah swallowed. "How do you know that?" "I listen," the lantern answered simply. "I listen to the things no one else hears." Jonah didn't know if he should feel comforted or terrified. He looked at the lantern, its glow reflecting softly in his eyes. What do you want from me?" he asked quietly. "Nothing," the lantern said, "only to give you what you have long needed." Jonah frowned. "And what is that?" "Truth," the lantern said. "About your silence, about your strength, about who you are becoming." Jonah looked away, gripping the lantern more tightly. He didn't feel strong. He felt small, like a footnote in everyone else's story. The lantern seemed to sense his thoughts. "You believe yourself unnoticed." It said gently, but I have seen you, Jonah's breath hitched. The lantern continued, I have seen you give your food to stray animals when no one was watching. I have seen you leave small drawings under your sister's door when she cries. I have seen you carry hurt without bitterness. Jonah blinked rapidly, his chest tightening. How could you see all that? He whispered. The lantern hummed softly. Light sees more than eyes do. For a long moment, Jonah didn't say anything. He felt as if someone had peeled back layers he didn't even know he had. Finally, he whispered, I don't know if I'm brave. You are, the lantern replied. But your bravery is not loud. It is quiet, steady. Waiting for you to claim it. Jonah's throat tightened. And tonight, the lantern continued, you will choose whether to let that bravery wake. Before Jonah could ask what it meant, a cold gust of wind swept across the path. The trees seemed to lean closer. The world suddenly felt bigger. The lantern dimmed. Follow the path, it said. Jonah hesitated. Why? You will understand soon enough. He walked. The lantern's glow guided him through the shadows. Fireflies sparked in the branches overhead, their faint trails weaving with the lantern's golden light. The river shimmered beside him, reflecting to figures Jonah and the light that had chosen him. As Jonah walked, he felt something shift inside him, not fear, not confusion, but something that felt like preparation. Then he saw it. A small figure curled on the ground near the river bend. A boy maybe 7 or 8 shivering violently. His clothes were thin, his hands wrapped around his knees. His face buried, trying to hide. Jonah stopped. The lantern brightened. This is your moment, it whispered. Jonah's heart pounded. He took a step forward, then stopped again. I don't know him, Jonah murmured. He does not know you either, the lantern said. But he needs someone. Jonah swallowed. His hands started trembling. What if I say the wrong thing? He whispered. Then say nothing, the lantern replied. Sit beside him. Offer your warmth. Courage is not in perfect words, but in presence. Jonah felt the truth of that. He stepped forward slowly. Halfway there, he stopped again. Fear tugged at him. Fear of being seen. Fear of stepping out of his invisible shell. The lantern's light dimmed. Jonah closed his eyes, shaking. What if he doesn't want help? He whispered, what if he does? The lantern countered. The words struck Jonah harder than anything before. He took a breath and walked the rest of the way. The boy looked up, startled by the glow. Jonah kneeled beside him and gently placed his own jacket around the boy's shoulders. The child blinked, confusion turning into relief. Jonah smiled softly. You're safe. I've got you. The boy leaned into the warmth, whispering a shaky thank you. The lantern glowed brighter than ever. In that moment, Jonah felt it something blooming inside him. A warmth that wasn't from the lantern, a warmth born from the simple act of stepping forward. Halfway through his story, the narrator pauses thoughtfully. If you're listening to this, he says softly, tell me, would you have helped the boy? Be honest. Comment below. I want to know how your heart would choose also. If this story is touching you even a little, don't forget to like the video. It helps more people find these stories, and if you're new here, subscribe. There's so much more magic coming. The story continues. The lantern pulsed again. You chose well, it said. Jonah exhaled shakily. I was scared. Courage lives beside fear, the lantern said. It simply speaks louder when given a chance. Jonah looked out across the river. The world felt different now, warmer, like he belonged not just to the silence, but to the moment itself. The lantern dimmed. My time is nearly done, it whispered. Jonah felt a pang in his chest. You're leaving? I was never meant to stay, the lantern replied. I was meant to guide, to reveal your strength. To show you who you have always been. Jonah's voice trembled. I don't want to go back to being invisible. You never were, the lantern said softly. You simply needed to see yourself. Jonah swallowed hard. What should I do now? He whispered. Continue, the lantern said. Continue choosing courage. Continue stepping forward. Continue being the warmth you once sought. The lantern's glow softened into a faint, shimmering pulse. And Jonah, remember this. Even a quiet flame can light 1,000 shadows. Then the light faded. Slowly, gently, the lantern went dark. Jonah held it for a long moment, feeling the weight of what it had taught him. Then he placed the lantern back by the old bridge. Where someone else might find it one day, he stood taller now. The silence around him felt different, no longer heavy, no longer lonely. It felt full of possibility, full of meaning, full of him. The narrator's voice softens, and that night, Jonah walked home not as the boy the world overlooked, but as the boy who finally saw himself. A pause, and if this story reached you, if it found your quiet places, then subscribe to the channel. Let's keep walking these paths together. More stories are waiting for you, and maybe one of them will speak to you the way the lantern spoke to him. The final line glows like the lantern's last light, because sometimes all it takes is one moment of courage to change the story you tell yourself forever.